Happening, everybody? Here we are, another Thursday night on the grind. Got this a little high. Let me fix that for you. So, man, it's been a crazy week for me. I don't know about all you guys, but we'll give it a second and let people get on here. So, let me go ahead and start out with my sponsors for tonight. First up tonight is Hopkins Design. Hopkins Design. You need a website. You need any kind of materials, logos, any type of stuff for your website, your business, cards, banners, whatever. Earl is there. He can take care of you. He's been doing my stuff for over 20 years now, and I couldn't be happier. Great pricing, great customer service. He's a one-man show, and he does everything. What's up, Mr. Pat Price? Anyway, reach out to Earl at hopkinsdesign.com and let him know Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up, our good friends over at Urban Rides Magazine. Urban Rides, established in 2019, one of the best magazines, if not the best magazine in the motorcycle industry. Go check them out at Urban Rides Magazine on Facebook, urbanridesmagazine.com, and check out the sister publication, Street Bagger Magazine. Another great magazine. Go check them out and let them know Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up is our good buddies over at J&D Custom Polishing and Plating, Mr. Gary Dubois, Gary Dubois, however you want to say his name. J&D Custom Polishing and Plating. They plate copper, gold, nickel, chrome, silver, dent removal, straightening and polishing of stainless steel and aluminum trim. They do zinc die cast for pot metals, repair and restoration. Over 60 years experience in the polishing and plating world. You've got to go check these guys out at J&D Custom Polishing and Plating. The number's on the screen. And when you do, go use them. Let them know Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up, our good friends over at Indiana and Illinois Thunder Roads Magazine. Another great publication. If you're up in that area of the world, go check them out at Indiana and Illinois Thunder Roads Magazine at any of your local bike shops. Get you a copy. And when you do, look for the Grind. We're inside there. Next up, American Drag Seats, AmericanDragSeats.com, American Drag Seats /Attitude Inc. on Facebook and on Instagram. Go check us out. If you need a Harley seat, you need a Harley aftermarket seat, you need custom seats, it doesn't matter. We got you covered from stock to full-blown built. We can get you taken care of. Any type of stitching, inlays, leathers, exotic hides, everything, we have you. AmericanDragSeats.com or American Drag Seats /Attitude Inc. on Facebook and American Drag Seats on Instagram. Go check us out. Next up, our good friends over at Hell Speed Shop, hellspeedshop.com. You need flannel shirts, you need hoodies, you need hats, it doesn't matter. They have the best, by far the best flannel shirts in the world. You can wear them in the winter, keep you warm. You can wear them in the summer. You're not going to sweat all over yourself. They have by far the best. And I say the best. I wear them all the time. You got to go to hellspeedshop.com and place you an order. Up next is our Legacy Bike Works. Legacy Bike Works right here in Manville, Texas. All kinds of custom. It doesn't matter. Baggers, bobbers, choppers. We do it all right here at Legacy Bike Works in Manville, Texas. Full-blown audio systems, competition grade, street beater grade. It doesn't matter. You need stereo work. You need custom bikes built. Get with Legacy Bike Works. Legacy Bike Works on Facebook. Legacy Bike Works on Instagram. Go check them out. Ooh, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Let's see. Yeah. And our newest sponsor to the grind is Jade Affiliated. Jade Affiliated, manufacturer of high-end and leading-edge motorcycle wheels, designs for the performance and big wheel Harley-Davidson markets. They have some of the sickest wheels in the industry. Take it from me. I'm always looking for something badass. These guys know what they're doing. You got to go check them out at jadeaffiliated.com or go check them out on Facebook at Jade Affiliated. But whatever you do, go check them out. You won't regret it. So what's happening, everybody? Here we are, another Thursday night on the grind. I hope tonight everybody can hear me. I'm not freezing. None of that BS is going on. Dude, I know it's been a while since we've had an interview, but tonight we have an interview and it is a first of a kind. We finally have the wheel guy, somebody that knows what they're talking about, somebody that can actually make the shit and make it right. Everybody, please welcome Jad with Jade Affiliated in the house right now. What's happening, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm great, dude. In spite of everything, I'm great.
Yeah.
So, man, to start the show off, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
So I go by Jad, but most people call me Jay. Own Jade Affiliated for the past going on 5 years come January. Uh, might be new to the industry to some people, but I've been doing this for shit since 2004. Started off in my dad's shop, Ride Right Wheels, and started just sweeping floors. You know, the basic. You're not allowed to put a wheel or touch a wheel until you know how to clean floors and do all that other bullshit.
That's right. That's exactly right. I think that's crazy that you come from Ride Right Wheels. That's your thing. It's so cool to have you on here. I've done a lot of research on you here in the last couple of weeks, looking, checking. And dude, I gotta say, one of the biggest things I see is your wheels are different. They're just, they look really cool, very intricate, very streamlined. It doesn't matter what you want from mild to wild. You've got it. How do you come up with designs? I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start with a wheel design.
To be honest with you, at first I had that same issue when I first started designing my own stuff. Because at first, it's just like you just see what's in front of you and you just see car wheels. Because that's the most amount of designs, different designs you're going to find are all on cars. But trying to move a car design into a motorcycle wheel design, it just doesn't work. Because car wheels, they're not flat faced. They're thick. There's a lot more material and room to work with, so you could really get an intricate design in there. So that was kind of my first inspiration, just car wheels. You know, I was big into the car scene growing up. Bikes were normal. They grew up around them. Worked around them the whole time. So it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I want to get into this because it's different. But I was super into cars, lowered cars, luxury cars, just that whole scene, which done now, graduated out of that. But now that I've been doing it for a while, it takes some designs take up to 6 months, a year sometimes, of just going back and forth and back and forth. Some designs, they just click, like you just start drawing them and everything just falls into place. And to be honest, it's mostly just seeing something on a car or seeing something on a bicycle.
Yeah.
We designed that Moto Mag.
Well, one of the cool things that, because everybody needs to know, before I interview somebody, I call them and talk to them on the phone. And you and I were on the phone for almost 40 minutes the other day. I don't know if you realize that or not. But there's so much cool about what you do. And one of the things I want to touch on, because we're going to jump back and forth all night. I kind of like to start in the beginning and work our way to the date, but that's not going to work for you and me.
No, my brain's all over the place too.
So one of the things that you and I discussed the other day was when you do a wheel, and I even asked you about this. Let's say you come up with what would look like a spoke.
Yeah.
Tell everybody how you test a wheel to make sure the damn thing is strong enough, because that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Tell them the beginning and then tell them how you do it now.
We used to send it out to this place. Well, one of the places we used to send to was Standard Testing Labs. You send 3 tires with 1 rim, and they pretty much put the tire on the rim, pump it up to about 60 psi, which I thought was weird, and then they just run it they stick an axle through it, load it up to about 800-900 pounds, run it at about 140, 150 miles an hour, and they go through all 3 tires. They do side-to-side load testing, as well as like brake testing, They take the center, they grab the center, and then they grab the outer, and they spin them in different directions to get torque on them, make sure nothing breaks. And we used to have to do that with all the billet wheels. If you wanted to sell anything like in Europe to get that TUV testing done, you would have to go through the same process. So we did it to billet wheels, to spoke wheels, to all that kind of stuff. Now there's
So it was very expensive
you're looking about $10,000 per wheel
to
per
test
test.
the wheel.
Yeah,
And
because
it
after they're
broke.
done testing it, they drop it in like some type of dye solution, and then they X-ray it after to see if there's any micro fractures or cracks throughout the wheel itself, and they'll let you know what they find.
Yeah.
You know, they're testing it above and beyond what any motorcycle can actually do.
Right.
So you will find everything will have stress fractures and cracks in it, but they'll tell you like this is due to the excessive, fucking speeds and loads we put on one wheel.
So you'd come up with a design, not knowing if it would handle, make the wheel, cut the wheel, do everything, and then ship it off to somebody, spend the money. And if it was faulty, you just spent 10 grand just to see if it would work. Now tell everybody how you do it, because this is fascinating to me.
There's a software, Fusion 360 is one of the softwares that have this feature. You could subscribe to it for like a couple $100 a year, and you load in your drawing with all the dimensions and everything, and you tell it what material you're using, what the heat treat level is, and then what the load rating of that's going to be on that wheel, and it'll just spit out this colored image with red spots, green spots, blue spots, and that'll kind of tell you where the weak points are of that wheel and what adjustments you need to make to get it to be strong enough for that bike and for those kinds of speeds. It's just ridiculous.
So you went from roughly 10 grand per wheel just testing it to a couple $100 a year in a programming now. So that saves you thousands of dollars.
A lot. It's ridiculous. And some people own that program to where they pay one-time fee for it, and it's not a yearly subscription. I got a couple buddies that have, and I just send it to them, and they'll just pop it in there, take a screenshot of it, and be like, okay, this little section here and this section there, thicken them up by 1/4 inch, and you're good. And that's it. It's like not even 10 seconds, and it'll kick out a full rendering for them of what needs to be changed and where it needs to be adjusted.
Wow. So let's go backwards now. In 2004, you decided you wanted to go to work for your dad.
I didn't really decide. It's just one of those things, like you're coming to the shop and you're going to work.
Yeah, right. So were you still in high school then, or were you out of high school?
It was last year of high school. So I graduated in 2005.
Look here, shithead. You got to get to work. You may not work. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 seconds, and I want to show you guys something for those that don't follow me on a regular basis. I'm showing you this picture because this is where everything starts. So that is my 31-year-old teaching my 10-year-old how to weld. And I said 31 and 10 because there's a big difference in their ages. But there he is. He's actually welding at 10 years old. And it's actually the second time he's been welding. So he comes in the other day and he's like, hey, Dad, I want some V-Bucks for, I don't know what, one of the video games.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you can want that all you want, but I'm not giving you anything. And he's like, well, what can I do to make some money? I said, go in the shop with your brother. Get out there and go do something. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I said, nobody knows how to do it the first time. Just get out there. Devin will give you something to do. You do what he says. You can make some money. And he goes, well, how much money can I make an hour? I was like, look, you go out there and you learn and I'll figure it out. He goes, well, I at least want $1 an hour if I'm going to go out there and work. I said, you know what, Cade? I'll pay you $5 an hour to go out there and just work, just learn, just sweep the floors, whatever. I'm trying to raise this kid like what your dad did to you. Hey, just go do it. I'm not giving you a career path. This is not something I'm going to tell you have to do forever, but I
No.
want you to have that knowledge upstairs
To figure it out.
in the future.
Yep.
So I appreciate what your dad said to you. He said, just get out here, just come do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, he was just like, you're going to put in 8 hours a day minimum, and then you're going to go to school full time. I'm like, all right, fuck it. We'll figure it out.
So you went to college. What do you have a degree in?
But I ended up being in business just because I needed a degree so my parents would leave me alone about all that shit.
Right.
I originally wanted to go into like biomedical engineering, just
Yeah.
robotics and shit like that. But got to college, started partying, got distracted, fell in love with motorcycles, and that was it.
And he said that it was over with. Damn it.
That was it. Yeah.
I'm done.
And then, I bought my first sport bike. It was a clapped out Gixxer 750. I think I paid $1,500 for it from a buddy of mine.
Right.
Fairings were all cracked and broken. It was not street legal whatsoever. And that was the beginning of track riding, and crashed a couple times and then stopped going to the track because it hurt too much, and got a few more sport bikes after that until I started my own business. And once I opened up Jade, I just went and bought a Road Glide, traded in a Busa for a Road Glide. The guy at the dealership was looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Said, I've got so many answers to that question, but I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you worked for your dad for a couple years, and then you had the bright idea that, hey man, I want to do this on my own.
Yeah, so I hit a ceiling working over there. There's only so much that I could do, and I was running the machine shop and trying to help with the office as much as possible. But I found myself just fucking walking around the shop, just staring at machines and watching them run, making sure everything was going well. And at that time, there was kind of a void in the industry where there was a need for another company to make billet wheels. And so I approached my dad and I was like, hey, we got an opportunity right now. A couple of the big players have fallen off the face of the industry, and people are asking for new stuff. And he pretty much sat me down. He's like, well, you got a couple months to figure it out, because end of the year, you're on your own. I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, so Bob's let you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he gave me a 2-month notice instead of a 2-week notice. And I came back to him a week later and I was like, look, it's August. There's no fucking point in me trying to find a place to rent right now. This is in California, out of all places. I was like, let's hold off till beginning of the year. We'll work out a plan. I'll rent your machine from you. As soon as the shop closes up at 3:30, I'll work during the day, and then at 3:30, I'll run the machines and I'll pay whatever overhead to cover, electrical, coolant, tooling, all that kind of stuff, and I'll run it after hours. And he agreed with that, and we ran from August all the way up until December 15th. I ran out of his shop just at night, running the machines myself at night, doing Instagram posts, programming, and helping him out at the same time, just to kind of keep a paycheck while I was trying to get the other company up off its feet. And it worked out.
That's about as supportive as a father can be to his son.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're going to be directly competing against him, but he
didn't want anything to do with billet wheels anymore. He was just like, I got spokes. We're the leader in that section. Go take over the billet and leave me out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how fast did it take off?
Pretty damn quick in the beginning. Pretty damn quick. Yeah. We had some support from a lot of dealers that we had worked with, other bike shops. When they found out that we were doing our own wheels, my dad had a chrome line in house too, so that really helped. We were able to turn a wheel around in 2 weeks from start to finish for a custom order. You couldn't get shipped anything under 6 to 8 weeks at that point for chrome, for like a 30-inch.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave us a leg up on everybody in the beginning to kind of get the ball rolling. And we were selling Mad Wheel designs back then, because he had just gone out of business, so we kind of took over some of his designs. So I got lucky. Everything kind of just fell into place at the right time, at the right place. And we already had people looking for those designs, and we just pushed it from there.
So was he upset that you were taking his stuff when he went out?
No, we had a deal with him. We
Really?
had a deal with him. He had a bunch of people that he had to fulfill orders for, supposedly, that like we cut a good 20, 30 wheels in the beginning for him.
Because I remember, what year was that? 15?
28. Yeah, he started to stumble in about 2015, 2016, and then 2017 was the end of it.
Because I remember seeing posts on Facebook, man, they were beating him up online.
Mm-hmm.
People, ordered a wheel, paid for a wheel in
Oh
advance,
yeah,
and a year would go by and he wouldn't get his wheels. And I'm not talking bad about him. Other things
it is
must
what
have
it is.
happened to get him to that point, but there were a lot of people upset about him, man.
Yeah,
And he seemed
no,
like he was doing really, really good. Like he was everywhere. And then all of a sudden he wasn't.
uh, he was killing it with his wheels and his designs and everything. I think it's just, I don't know what happened. In my opinion, he didn't reinvest the money back into the company. Like if you're cutting that many wheels, you need to be cutting them yourself. You can't have somebody else cutting them for you.
Yeah.
And then, I guess just what some shops say, they got burned by him. He still owed them money, so they stopped wanting to cut for him. So then he'd go to the next shop and then the next shop and just keep getting stuff cut for himself by somebody else. Well, you're losing a good chunk of money by doing that.
Yeah.
And your average machine shop is about $100 an hour out in California at that time. Well, you got a wheel that takes four or
Way more
five
than that
hours.
now.
Oh yeah, you take a wheel that's 5 hour cut time. That's $500 out of your pocket,
Yeah.
and you're already struggling to make ends meet. And now you're paying somebody else to cut a wheel for you, your design. I think it was just mismanagement of the company, in my
Well,
opinion. I could
and
be
that's
wrong.
that's probably a more true statement than anything else because unfortunately there are a lot of talented people out there, and I've said it so many times on this show. If you don't know how to run your company, I don't give a shit how good you are. You will never. You're just never going to succeed.
Yeah,
And when you run companies, you got to know numbers. You got to know what costs what, how much time. I mean, the one of the other things you were talking about is the process in which you cut wheels. You literally are making money while you sleep, but there's an investment price to be able to do that, and a lot of people don't know that, so they think I'll use a painter as an example. Painter does a paint job for $4,000 for a shop. The
yeah,
shop marks it up $1,500. So now you're paying $5,500 for a bagger paint job. No big deal, no harm, no foul. The painter gets the body on a Monday, and
hmm
it's 3 weeks that it takes him working Monday through Friday to get that paint job done, give it to the customer. So that's $4,500, right? Or $4,000.
yeah,
What were your materials? What's your overhead? Okay, take all that shit out of it. Then you got to divide that by 120 hours. If you're successfully working on it 8 hours a day,
oh yeah,
it comes right down to it. You're making $5 to $10 an hour, and people just don't realize that. And then when you talk to them about it, it's like, what? And I'm like, dude, that's the reality of it. Yes, you work for
yeah.
yourself, but you're going broke working for yourself because you can't get your process right.
No.
After talking to you, you run you run your company correctly. So tell me about that. How you actually do the wheels? Like,
So yeah,
tell me, just tell me that part.
like some wheels, depending on the design, they'll take up to like 4 hours to cut. And the tables are big enough to fit two 30s at a time if I'm doing 30s. So instead of running the machine all day, whatever time we leave, you turn it off and you walk away from it. Why? It's sitting there. It's still costing you money. Your payments due at the end of the month, regardless of if you ran it 10 hours or if you ran it 100 hours. So I make sure to kind of schedule my day to where by the time I'm about to leave, that there's two wheels on the machine that are going to run overnight. That way, when I come in tomorrow morning, whatever time I end up showing up, I have two wheels that are either finished on second operation for second side, or they finished first side and they're ready to get flipped over and ran for the second. So as much. It's kind of like in your shop. You don't want to have just open square footage empty that's not making you any money, because every inch, every square foot of your shop is costing you rent. So why don't you put that square foot to use? And it's the same thing on the machine. If you got, if you could squeeze three wheels on the machine, put three fucking wheels on it. If you could do only two, do two. It's gonna run. Now, if you're there and waiting for it and watching it and want to put like one part after another, sure, run them one at a time. The reason I prefer to run two wheels at a time is it frees me up. It gives me more time to go run a second machine or a third machine. So I'm not tied to one machine for 2 hours. And 2 hours are up, program's ready to flip. Well, now I got to waste 30 minutes setting up a new wheel or flipping this wheel. While I could have just put two wheels in the beginning, still taking the same 30 minutes to set it up, and walked away for 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of shit I could get done on the other machines in 5 hours is crazy. Like we ran 150 hub ends today in 3 hours on one machine. It's dedicated for drilling and tapping. It taps at 3,000 RPM, and that's kind of 50% of what it's designed for. It's fucking scary. I have it slowed down to 1,000 RPM because I just don't want to burn through taps that fast. But it's terrifying with how fast this machine moves, and it's tiny. It's only got like a 15-inch workstation, but two pallets. So as you're loading and unloading parts on one side of the machine, the other side of the machine is still running. So you're constant production on it. So I just try to maximize how runtime on the machine and minimize setup time.
Yeah.
Setup time, you're losing money. I mean, I can't charge a person, $100 for half an hour worth of setup time
Yeah.
for one wheel. It doesn't add up. And we factored in machine time into all our wheels, which kind of gives us that little bit of margin at the end of the day. And that's kind of why we're a little more expensive than some of our competitors. But we have our pricing tiered to where we could sell to distributors. We could do dealer wholesale for our dealers and shops that buy multiple times a month or do big orders. They get an extra little discount. And then we have a regular dealer pricing, and then we have our retail pricing. So we got 4 different tiers of pricing that we're able to offer, which just gives more options. And some shops that we work with, they're on distributor tiers because they just push so much volume through. A lot of the private labels that we do, we put them on distributor tier as well, because all we're doing is getting a PO from them, sending them the invoice, and then cutting their design and shipping it out to them. We're not dealing with the customer. We're not dealing with anybody except like 1 or 2 people max. And
Right.
that makes life so much easier. I personally don't like pushing retail. I try to stay away from it as much as possible. That's kind of how we've developed the business, is build a good dealer network for yourself and let the dealer sell. Because could I be making more money selling directly to retail? Absolutely. Do I have the time in the day to talk to fucking 10, 20 customers a day? Fuck no. I can barely talk to 2. Um, so it's just the way I've set everything up between the machines and the office, where we don't need that many people to run the company efficiently.
See, that's intriguing to me because you've figured out things that a lot of shops don't even think. I never even thought about it until you just said it. Every square inch of your shop, you like to have that square inch making you money, producing something.
Yeah.
But we all know you got to have walkways, you got to have working ables and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I get it. But the fact that you took the time and you're like, man, I've got that area over there. I think that we could fit another table over there, or we could fit another tool over there, or something that we could do to make
Yep.
more money. And a lot of shops, even me, I mean, my shop is stuffed. If I told you everything we did in my shop, you'd be like, how? And it's literally 1,200 square feet,
Mhm.
But when you're hungry, when you have something to sell and something to offer, you have to think about that little stuff. And I'm guilty. I never thought about square
Here,
footage.
I'm just going to show you the back of the shop. So, so I got the forklift kind of parallel parked on the side.
Wow.
I got my polishing machines right here. It's a giant vibratory polisher, and it's just stuffed. Like there's no room in that place to put anything else. And it's just like we got racks sitting everywhere, and I put the racks high up enough to where I could comfortably stand under it, and I put a table there for prep work. So you got boxes and all the other shit up top, and then I got a little sanding station right under it, so I could just really quickly DA a wheel, get whatever little machine lines are still in there off of it, and then throw it in the polishing machine for 3-4 hours and let it run on its own, and it comes out paint prepped, ready to go. And if
Really?
you need a step further, oh yeah, it's a fuck. I mean, I could put about four 18-inch wheels, or actually four 30s in it side by side. They all sit on a little rail in the center, and they have two. It comes with two big like polyurethane wheels that just rotate and hold them in there, and you have this media that just kind of vibrates inside with it, and it's just like a tumble polisher, just like the little ones you get from Home Depot or whatever for polishing small parts. It's just on a much larger scale, much
Wow.
louder.
And a lot of wheel manufacturers don't do that. They send them out to have them polished.
We still do to some stuff, like for chrome. We tried running the vibratory polisher for chrome. It just needed a lot more prep work in the beginning, which I don't have anybody that really knows how to do prep for chrome.
Yeah.
So all my chrome work I still send out, but we've really been pushing the performance side a lot lately. A lot of these guys are starting to just want completely raw machine finish. They don't even want to powder coat the wheels anymore. They just want pure raw, with like the machine lines that I was showing you earlier, and just custom finishes to the faces and everything. And then, for powder coat, we could get it prepped enough and then ran through that to where it's good enough where our powder coater gets it. He just hits it with a sandblast real quick and it's ready to spray.
Wow.
The only thing we're still working on that polishing machine is our high polish finish. We're getting it to where it's almost like a dark chrome, almost like a black chrome finish, which is great when we send stuff out to get anodized, because you still get that gloss, high polish mirror look from it. We're just still kind of messing with a chemical mix on it to get that really like bright, vibrant high polish.
Right. Dude, that almost hurts my head thinking, man, I'm still kind of stuck on the shop saying the way you got the shop laid out and how you utilize space to increase profit. That's very cool to me. Second thing is that so all of your programming and your design work and all of those things, I mean, yeah, we know you probably learned some of it from your dad, but how did
He's
you
business only.
well then how did you learn how to actually CAD the parts? Because I do CADing, and your CADing would be what 3D CADing?
Yeah, I use Mastercam for everything. So I bought a book off Amazon for like $30 back in the day, for Mastercam. It was still X8 at the time. And the book literally is just step by step of how to draw stuff, and it walks you through the whole thing. It comes with a little CD in the back, student learning edition, and you just go through all of it. I did go to school originally, this place in Cali called the NTMA. Majority of the kids in class were all, well, they weren't really kids; they were adults at that point, but they were all, ex-inmates. They had just gotten out of prison, trying to get their life back on track, and they start all the way from the bottom, learning how to deburr a part. That was like a whole class for a whole month, was just them learning how to deburr parts. We kind of got to skip all of that and went straight into the programming, learning how to read all the coding that the software kicks out that we run in the machine.
Yeah.
They had us writing it, doing it longhand, just writing it all out. And it's just a bunch of X, Y, Z's and I's and J's and a bunch of numbers and shit. But it made sense because I was into, like, I was pretty good at math growing up and physics and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of fell right into it. And I did really well. And towards the end of the class, one of my teachers, his name was Mike. He used to do a lot of the programming back in the day. Well, at least he said, when Jesse James had his own TV show, he was building all the crazy shit. He was one of the guys that would come out there and program and do stuff with him.
Really?
And that was our main teacher. And, he knew I was in the motorcycle industry, and we did spoke wheels and stuff. And I kind of excelled in his class, and he pulled me aside one day and handed me one of the books that I eventually bought more of and just learned how to do it myself. Just Amazon Mastercam. I still have it somewhere upstairs in a closet.
So at this
And
point in the game, are you still learning
oh,
different
yeah.
little things as you go?
So every year there's a brand new update on Mastercam, and like last year's on Toolpaths, just ways to cut, it completely changed. And with just those small changes, we had to relearn just a little bit of stuff, but it helped us optimize how we were cutting and get better surface finishes. And there's still the company we bought the software from. They have like web seminars that they do once every 3 to 6 months where they touch base on all the new upgrades to the software, the new updates. A lot of it's self-taught, but it's all on the internet.
Yeah.
Everything's out there. Like, there's that other software that I tried learning how to use, Fusion 360. It's a better entry level software. A lot of friends in the industry that have just recently bought machines, they use that because it's not as big of an investment compared to Mastercam. And you get all the options with it. Mastercam, the one I use, it's kind of annoying because you buy the base model, and if you just buy mill alone, that's like 15,000. And if you want to add lathe, it's like another 2 or 3,000. I think I paid 18,000 for mill and lathe for basic 2D stuff without 5-axis. And then 2 years ago, we added fifth axis, lathe with live tooling, and probing, which is great. If anyone's ever thinking of getting a new machine, definitely get it with a probe. It saves so much time and productivity and lets you run lights out production down the line. But yeah, when we upgraded, it cost another 24,000 to upgrade to all the new features and like add stuff to it. And we pay about 5,000 a year to upgrade to the newer version every year.
Wow.
It it hurts, but the cool thing is because we are upgrading constantly with them. If I ever kind of hit a wall on programming something, like a year ago, we were making some injection molds for a company, um, and I had never done a fucking injection mold. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I reached out to these guys and told them where I was, where I'd hit a wall, and they're like, "Oh, just send us a program over." So I just emailed it over to them, and within 2 hours, they had finished writing the whole program for me and sent it back at no charge.
Wow.
And usually, when you call someone to get something custom designed or programmed, it's like $2,000 to $5,000 from what we've done in the past. It costs a lot of money to do something like that, and this is part of the service. You could call them every day if you want and send them the part, and they'll help you with it. So it was well worth it.
So do you actually do injection molding now, or you just cut the
No,
dies?
I just cut the mold for one company. I don't really want to do it again. It was such a pain in the ass.
Really?
They had such small channels on the back because I don't know what the part was for, but it looked like it had speaker grills on the top of it that were made out of plastic that had super small cutouts. I mean, we're talking a 16th of an inch gap in between the grooves on it. And they had stuff that was like, I have end mills that I couldn't even see the actual cutting part of the end mill. It was so thin. It looked like a needle, like those super small needles. It was just so dumb. We had 0.2 millimeter end mills. You put them in the machine, you're more than like a foot away. You can't even tell if it's broken or not. It's just super tiny stuff to get in the small gaps and tolerances that they had. It took about a week and a half to cut one part of like
Wow.
continuous cutting. So after that, I sent them the bill for it, and I was just like, I'm not interested anymore. My machine's not cut out for mold making, so it was taking a little bit longer too. And then with just a small tooling and this inexperience as well, is just I was like, no thanks. The money's good, but it's not worth that kind of
It's
stress.
just tedious, is what it sounds like. And that's one of those things is that when you get into doing certain stuff, everybody's like, well, yeah, I can do that too. Yeah, I can do that too. But sometimes you got to sit back and be like, man, I can
Do I
do it,
want?
but do I want to do that?
Yeah,
But you got to be smart enough to walk away from some stuff.
yeah. I got lucky on this one. I set it up towards like probably a couple days before Christmas, so I had that whole little Christmas vacation in between Christmas and New Year's too, to kind of keep working on it to where I didn't fall behind on the regular stuff.
Right.
But it's as a daily thing, yeah, it's definitely not worth it. Not for
Wow,
me, at least. Not for me.
that's
I'd
great.
rather stick to motorcycles and fun stuff.
So, just out of curiosity, do y'all just do wheels or do you do other stuff?
Um, we do a lot of other stuff. We just don't really push it for our own brand. We do it for other companies, part of our private label stuff. We've done floorboards, foot pegs, derby covers, air cleaner covers. Shit, what else? We got a list of things that we've designed, but it's kind of on the back burner.
Yeah.
We got levers. I've kind of halfway done designing an outer primary cover because I just didn't like the one on that comes stock on the Harley. Yeah, that's
So I'm
turned
going to
into
tell
a
you right
whole.
now, I will tell you right now, you come out with a better looking outer primary cover for the stock Harleys, you're going to hit a gold mine on that one.
So we started. The whole reason I started messing with it was some of the guys that were racing, not in the BRL, but that second one that popped up. I think it was the BRL or Moto America, one of them. But the guys were just dragging the outer primaries, and they're just having issues. And they're like, "Oh, it's not enough clearance. We need to get more lean angle. We're maxing out." And we started kind of looking into it. And I just on the side decided to start messing with it, and it turned into a big old project. But there is a outer primer that Harley makes for the soft tails, I believe. That I just saw it had like all those aggressive hard lines on it. And I was like, fuck, that would look sick on a Road Glide. And I started drawing it out, dimensioning everything, and it's sitting in. I have folders covering my desktop with like version one, version two, version three of just ideas and projects that just kind of lose track of time on them and just forget about them for a bit. But that outer primary is one that I want to do, but I want a 5-axis to do it on, just so I get a little more aggressive with the design and the angles on it and better machining finishes too.
Well, that would be, I would have never even thought about doing that, but having a line, because nobody that I know of makes a outer primary cover for a stock setup, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Everybody just gets them powder coated. I thought,
Hmm.
well, let's powder coat this. Let's make it custom by powder coating it.
It's going to be expensive though, with just the size of the material, because we're not going to cheap out and get cast. I mean, we could do it. The smarter way to do it would just to have one or two made and have them casted
Yeah.
cheaper. You could mass produce them that way, but I don't. That's a lot of money into it to get it sandcasted and have them mass produced. But also, it just takes away the appeal. And you're not getting a custom made part anymore. You're getting a mass produced part.
Yes.
It's not billet aluminum now. It's just just cast. And it's like,
Like pot metal.
yeah. I mean, you might as well stick with the stock one at that point.
Yeah.
You're getting the same quality stuff at that after all said and done, just for a slightly different design. So it kind of loses the appeal to me. That's why I want to stick with the billet. I mean, we're talking uh, $1,500 maybe. I don't know how much a stock one costs, but
Well, it
between
ain't
material and everything,
$1,500,
yeah.
but you got to think, what does an open belt primary cost?
Well, yeah, for the whole kit, you're still spending about what, $1,100, $1,200 for a full open belt primary
Shit,
kit. I
double that,
fucking, yeah.
double that.
So it's something.
So, but my whole point is that if you have, because once you have the dimensions of the bolt holes and your distances, dude,
That's
you
it.
you could run a couple different designs.
Yeah. So what I did to get all that stuff was I have a scanner here, one of those 3D scanners where you just kind of spray paint a primer and you start scanning it all in sections, and
Yeah.
it loads it all into my computer with all the dimensions to pretty accurate to what we need. And I just take those spots and delete everything else and keep the spots alone for the bolt holes, and then just start designing off of that and just adjusting stuff. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something that I want to focus on hopefully this coming year, because I do have access to some of that equipment right now to do something cool.
I would foresee, it just makes sense to me because nobody's doing that.
No, no, I just don't want to get ahead of myself on stuff because right now I'm still not happy with how production's rolling on the wheel side of things.
Yeah.
We're down one machine. It's after fixing it for the fourth time this year. Every time I fix it, something new breaks on it. So I just told I just sold it and got rid of it.
Yeah.
So once they get that out of my shop, and just wait till kind of busy season fades, I need to look at buying another machine for the shop, and kind of get the whole wheel thing just sit in a better position than where it's at right now. I want to be able to produce stuff faster and faster turnarounds. So looking into getting some inventory for some of the better selling sizes, OEM stuff, 19.3.5, 18.5.5. We go through those like fucking no tomorrow.
Really?
Um, it's all OEM. I mean, you got all the baggers, anybody that wants to run performance stuff, they'll all do 19.3.5, 18.5 because it's stock. You got the guys with the lowrider S's and the STs, those new lowriders. They're huge. People love those bikes. They'll run 19/3 instead of the 2.5. Just get a little wider front, and they'll bump the rear up to an 18 as well. And you even got the guys with the '07 and up Dynas that are still around. They're doing 19.3 front, 18.5 rear. So it's a really good common size, and it looks great. It handles great. You still get a couple guys that like to run the 21 up front. I'm a huge fan of 2118 setup. People tell me it rides like shit. I personally don't fucking feel it. I just think it looks better.
Yeah.
If you're gonna spend the money on a set of wheels, do 21 up front. You're
Yeah.
not gonna notice that much of a ride difference. You can adjust your suspension a bit, and you'll have the same geometry.
Well, I have a 99 Dyna Wide Glide
Mm-hmm.
that was my dad's. I would love to put a 200 rear wheel on it and
Yeah.
then do the 21. And it's a skinny front wheel, but I'd like to step it up to a little bit
Yeah.
fatter front wheel. Keep the same spokes, keep it all original, but just make it a wide tire in the back, the 200, and then a little bit wider front tire.
Yeah, you'll probably have to cut the struts on the rear of that one. The swing arm will fit, no problem, especially if you go to like a chain conversion on it. The swing arm will fit the hub for a 200 to give you, or 180 to give you proper clearance on the chain side. The brake stays where it's at. The only thing that you're going to have an issue with, but maybe, is the struts on the rear.
Yeah.
But now people have kits out there where you cut your stock struts off, and then part of the kit you kind of drill a couple holes on the front end of the frame, and it bolts a new struts on there so you can put a fender on it. It's a full kit setup now. I know they have it for some of the earlier model baggers like the '04, '05s, where you keep your stock struts and you just get a fender that sits on the outside of the struts versus the inside,
Yeah.
and that gives you all the clearance you need for the 180 on the rear.
Well, so I've discussed that with a couple of people because Heartland USA, they actually make a kit for the Softails, but they don't make one
Mhm.
for the Dyna. And I was like, man, that fucking sucks. I would love to.
What year Softail though?
Uh, from what
Oh,
I've
the older
seen,
ones.
93 and newer.
Okay.
But they do not make one for a 99 Wide Glide.
Because what's funny is the rear Softail and Dyna hubs, they're pretty much the same. It's just a offset difference on the rear wheel. We're talking like 1/8 inch offset difference
Yeah.
between the two. As far as overall hub fitment, it's the same, but you'd have to modify the shock mounting points for it to work on a Dyna, which could be done.
Well, the cool thing is being a fabricator, no offense, I take the rear swing arm off, take the struts off, weld new struts in where I want them,
Yeah.
put fender in place, and I could put a 200, I could put a 240 on the goddamn thing.
Yeah. Your swing arm will fit it.
So,
The stock swing arm will fit a 180. You might need to mess with some spacing, kind of shift things around a little bit, but it's easy.
yeah.
That's
Well, that's one thing
real
I've
easy.
wanted to do for a long time. Uh, is make that bike look stock with fatter tires.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just in my opinion, it was a very
Way
good
better.
looking bike and it handles great.
Oh yeah, on my dad's dyno, when we did the 180 rear, he went up to a 23 on the front, and that's when 23s were like the new thing. Like holy shit, you could put a 23 on a bike, like it was unheard of still.
Yeah.
We fuck. I know Russ Wernamount had a brand new triple tree setup that he was doing for that bike, which we kind of retrofitted into it, and then we did the whole rear. It was fun. I mean, it rode like shit, but that's because the front forks were way too long. Like my dad wanted to kind of do like a chopper Dyna bobber setup,
Yeah.
which I don't know, but it was tough on the front end, just with how far the rake out
Yeah.
and how long the fork legs were. But it was fun. It looked good too. We actually had people like just offer him cash to buy it, and I don't know why he said no.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy I used to work with that I want to say he had like a 2004 Softail, something like that,
Yeah.
and he wanted to make it a chopper. And I
Hmm.
was like, "Well, are you going to cut the neck and weld it and do it that way?" He goes, "Well, I really don't want to." So I started doing some research, and there's a company out there that makes a bolt-on kit that does, I want to say, something like a 6, an 8,
Yeah.
and a 10 or a 12 over front end. And he just bolted it all on himself. I mean, he said
Mhm.
it did not take him a couple hours, and he had it all back together.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he did say it does not ride the way it did before. It's similar,
No.
but not exact. He goes, but he doesn't care. He loves the way it looks.
Exactly. Like it's I don't know. We took a soft tail and turned it into a bagger. I thought that was dumb. I don't know why the fuck we did that.
I've seen
It's
that many
cool.
times.
Yeah, I mean at that like he had a bagger, so why are we taking he bought a '09 when they first came out with the 180 stock rear. I'm like, why are we still turning the Softail into a fucking bagger? Like, just leave it alone. It had an 83 or 88 cubic inch motor with
Yeah.
like oversized exhaust, had no back pressure. The thing did not want to fucking move. He had speakers in the bags. He had a fairing on the front. There was so much extra weight to it that you didn't even need to put anyone on it for it not to want to fucking go. Like, dude, I thought the motor was going to blow up on that thing one day with how hard it was trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
It was so fucking bad.
So what's like on the horizon for Jade Affiliated?
Um, we're expanding this coming year. I can't really talk too much about that section of it,
Right.
but we're kind of stepping out of our normal industry territory. We're going to be doing a lot of improvements, a lot more marketing, getting a lot more of our product out in front of people. I have been working on this augmented reality deal to where I could send you. I haven't figured it out for anything other than iPhones right now, but I could take a wheel and kind of send you a rendering of it to where you could just roll it around and look at it. And
Yeah.
then it also has like the augmented side where it won't even work actually, never mind. But using your phone, you could actually place the wheel in front of you and walk around it, looking at it through your phone, to where you could actually put it in front of your bike too. So I get a lot of people going, well, I don't know what it's going to look like. Do you have a picture of it on a bike like mine? And I don't know. Like I have so many fucking pictures through my phone that it takes 2 hours to find something from 2 days ago.
Right.
So we started developing this to where I'm trying to get an app or get it on the website to where you go on my website, you click the wheel, it opens it up using your phone camera, and you're able to place it right in front of your bike, walk around it, see what it looks like, and make your decision from there. So that's one thing we're coming out with. Couple new wheel designs that we're working on right now. We're going to be releasing one probably next week
Yeah.
on a fat tire. A little more parts and accessories. I have floorboards kind of drawn up, materials here. Just need to finalize a drawing, and just expanding the product line and just getting a better process too. I want to have stuff in stock, like
Right.
raw machine finish, clean, ready to ship. If it needs to go to chrome, we'll send it out to get polished and chromed. If it needs to go to powder, it'll go to powder. But that at least saves us 3 to 4 weeks of lead time.
Right. Right.
You know, Amazon and all that instant gratification kind of fucked it up for a lot of people because everybody
Yeah.
wants their shit now, and I'm the same. Um, but
Hold
oh,
on. Wait. Hold on. Wait. There. I put it on the screen.
oh God, no. Logan
So
can
I'll,
tell you
I'll
about
let
that
you
next
answer
time.
that question because I know what he's talking about now because we talked. Go ahead.
That was just the one and only wheel. One
The
time only
one and
deal.
only.
That was fun. Yeah, no, that was one of our buddies. We just give him a hard time because he's always wanting something different all the
Well,
time.
so tell him. So tell us. So the buddy is Logan Black.
Hmm.
So tell the story because it's actually funny to me.
Oh, him and his. I want to run two perimeter rotors on one wheel on the same side with two calipers pointing in different directions. Yeah, he called me. He texted me actually. I was driving. He was like, "You're gonna hate me for this." I'm like, "Okay, that's a great start." And then he
FYI,
starts
everybody,
telling,
this story is about our biker build off, the 2021 National Biker Build Off.
"Yeah," and this is a couple months before he had to head out there. So
Yeah.
it was enough time, but it was to cut a wheel, but it wasn't enough time to really like figure out his whole scheme and idea. And he came by the shop and he's like, "All right, we're doing two perimeter rotors. I want them both on the same side. I want the calipers in between them, facing opposite directions, and the wheel needs to be functional and stop and be rideable." I'm like, "Fuck. Do you have a design?" "No." "Shit, okay." So he came back a couple days later with a full sketch and everything, and then it was time to figure out how we're going to make this work. We went with lug mounts, just some stainless steel hardware to kind of space the rotor out where it needed to be. Couldn't find the 402 steel that we needed in time, so we actually ran AR 500 plate steel, just shooting target steel. Has really close enough properties to heat treated rotors, and fucking made it happen, and it fucking worked.
So you cut the rotors,
We cut the rotors in the
you
wheel,
cut the
got the
rim,
standoffs,
you
got
put the
the hubs.
standoffs. See, dude, that's freaking crazy. And everybody in the show was like, dude, that's wild looking because they'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
And he was telling me during the build off, he's like, dude, I'm doing something that's never been done. I'm doing something that's never been done. You're going to freak out when you see this. And everybody freaked out when he saw that.
Yeah.
And we're like, how in the hell did you do it? How did you make the wheel? Little did we know it was you. You made the wheel.
I'm actually doing another one with a perimeter rotor off lug mount as well. It's just so much easier. When we used to do perimeters in the back, back in the day, we used to always do it on the lip of the rim. And there's just not enough meat on there to properly bolt it down into it without accidentally going through the hoop and into the drop center and have it leak air.
Right.
So these lug mount setups are so much nicer and easier to work with if you're not doing a full 3D wheel.
Yeah.
And I hate 3D stuff. They look fucking cool. They're so fucking cool.
Yeah.
You got so much material to work with, but I mean, fuck, we're talking like I had my double stitch 34 perimeter rotor wheel we did. It took 42 hours per side to cut, like of actual cut time. And I was just like, never fucking again.
So that's an 84 hours? So
84 hours
just
of actual
labor.
cut time.
So
Just
just
machine
labor
time.
that's almost 10 grand.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you can't charge that. You tell somebody, "Hey, I'm going to charge you 10 grand in just machine time," they're going to tell you you're fucking crazy and kick rocks.
Yeah,
So
well
it's
then
just
don't ask
like,
for something so fucking custom.
yeah, I just, it was one of those where it's like, all right, dude, you're waiting till Saturday to get this fucking wheel cut. Waited till I had a Monday off too. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it just ran. I got cameras in the shop, so I just get to watch. And my phone's linked up to the main machine that cuts all that stuff, so it tells me how much is left on the program. So when I know it's about an hour away till it's done, I'll just hop in the truck and fucking drive over, get there as it's finishing up, and keep it moving. But yeah, that shit was a nightmare.
Well, dude, I think it was awesome interviewing you.
Thanks,
I
man.
want
It's
to
a fun
bring you.
time.
I want to bring you back and interview you again.
Yeah, I'm down. Just let me know
Once you
when.
get those couple of things you're talking about.
Yeah.
And
So
dude, if you ever want to drop a wheel on here or do a what we call the press releases, man, just hit me up. I'll bring you on, even if it's only 5, 10, 15 minutes.
that'd be awesome.
Anytime you want.
Oh yeah, dude, that'd be dope. Yeah, I'm down. Once I get all those, I got to clear everything with my partners on this stuff, and They should be doing the press releases beginning of the year. I'll let you know, and we can talk about that stuff again later. 'Cause
Cool.
there's a lot of big stuff that's for the motorcycle industry that we're going to be pushing forward this year. We're looking in the electric side. I know people hate that shit and it's dumb, but you should see how fast these fucking things are.
Oh,
And
dude, yeah, you
it's
don't.
so fucking dumb. Like I've had a Busa and that shit was fun and it's fast. We got it turboed. These electric bikes, you can't touch them. They're fun.
So, are you working with Tim McNamer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah.
Another good dude.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff going on right now. He'll be releasing too. And we've been talking about a lot of other small projects here and there. So we got a lot of cool shit coming out. Just for fun toys coming soon.
Hey, you know what, dude? That's the coolest shit is when you can make money and then do the shit you really want to do. And it work. And you pioneers, man, you're pioneers of the industry. You're doing things that haven't been done. And a lot of people are kind of giving the whole electric thing a bad rap, but the reality is it's evolution. We're evolving into something and doing something different. No one's ever going to take away the hot rods. No one's ever going to take away the old school, but you got to grow with shit too.
So we're trying to do the whole electric thing, but also have the gas powered motor as your main option. So it'll be one of those. It's like, what motor do you want in it? Like, just like on cars, you get a fucking little V6, or you used to be able to get a V8. So we want to have that option because, I mean, fuck, man, these electric bikes are just stupid fun. Just stupid fun. It sucks that they don't have that awesome sound that a fucking combustion engine does, but fuck, you gotta hang on.
Do you think people care? No offense, about the sound when they're going like Tron? No, they're smiling ear to ear because of the torque and the speed.
So I thought the same thing where I wouldn't give a shit, but after a while it loses that fucking nostalgia. Because so I bought a Ram TRX and I bought a fucking great deal on it for the same price it would have cost to buy a 1500, a base model. And thing's fucking supercharged. It's got a great whine to it. It's so much fucking fun driving. It's fast. My buddy gets a fucking brand new Tesla Plaid and he lets me fucking drive it. And I'm like, holy fuck, this thing is fast. Like, it was terrifying how it just accelerates out of nowhere. So he borrowed my truck for a week because he was moving, and then I borrowed his car for a week. Dude, 3 days in, I called him. I'm like, are you done with my truck yet?
I need that motor.
It's fucking driving a battery RC car. It's like, okay, it's fun in the beginning, but how often are you just going to be able to floor it? And half the time you're sitting in traffic and there's cops everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. Give me something that makes noise. After a while, it's going to get old.
Well, it's still an option. It's still something that's going to be out there, and it is what it is. I mean, you're never going to get rid of the combustion engines. It's not going to happen because people just love that.
Yeah, they'll try, and they're not gonna succeed in it.
Yeah. So, well, cool, man. Well, dude, go have a great night. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
I had a blast, and there's so much more to come. And like I said, dude, anytime you want to come back on, shoot me a text. We'll bring you on, man.
Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You got it, my brother. Go have a great night, man. We'll talk soon. Man.
You too. Right, take care. Bye.
All right, everybody. There you go. It was cool. I'm so happy that Jad came on. We got to finally interview the wheel dudes, coming up with the whole processes, how they do everything. I don't know about you guys, but I dug it. I thought it was awesome. And Mr. Dan Juban, you asked if I dyed this. So yes and no. So right here, I did dye the gray here, but because of the crap lighting I have in my shop, I didn't dye it all the way. I just toned it up a little bit because there's still a lot of gray in here. I did not dye any of this. This is my natural color, but I did dye this piece right here because it's gray, and I only did it to see what it looks like. I'll be honest with you guys. I've had it for the last 2.5 months. It's almost time to let this thing go just because I'm not used to having a lot of facial hair, and Comes, it goes. It's no big deal. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm glad we didn't have the freezing and the glitching and the shit because, man, I hate that when I'm interviewing someone and that happens. But anyway, you said still not totally gay, just a little gay. Whatever. But I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Be sure to check out next week when we have Unique Auto Works going to be in the house. That's next Thursday night. Anyway, you guys go have a kick-ass week. Share the videos up, and we will talk to you guys next week.